When my daughter was 6 months old, she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. And shortly after that, we applied for and started receiving a Social Security benefit for families with disabled kids. They're very strict about how much money you can make, what kind of resources, cars, bank accounts, things like that you can have. You have to report everything to them. If anybody moves in and out of your house, any job changes, anything. So I was very good about keeping up with that and keeping them in contact for every little change that happened in our life. In August of 2008, they sent us a letter stating that they had overpaid my daughter for several years and now we owed them $10,000. I said, I didn't cause this. I shouldn't have to pay for this. So we filed a waiver, which means, I didn't cause it and I shouldn't have to pay for it. And so they said, well, you can keep receiving benefits in that time. So we did that. Well, after several months, they declined the waiver and they said, oh, now you owe us another $2,000 on top of the $10,000 you already owed. So we filed for a petition to get a hearing, which means to go in front of a judge for him to review our case. Well, in December of 2009, they told my attorney that they would settle the case with me for $50 a month. And I'm going to tell you, if I had been on my own, I probably would have done it just to have it out of my hair and to be done with this. But I did a quick prayer and I said, God, what do you want me to do? And he said, you need a hearing. December 10th, we actually got the hearing of this year, and we went before a judge, and it was a little nerve-wracking because I've never been in a legal situation, but I had that peace because I knew that God was going to stand up for us. I knew in my heart that he was going to do this. But the judge that I met, he was a young guy. He was just in his position for a year. He told me himself he was looking at this with fresh eyes, so that gave me more encouragement. And he started just asking me questions about, when did I contact them and things like this. And my attorney asked me some questions also, which brought out some more inconsistencies with Social Security. And after about 45 minutes, he said, okay, I've heard enough. He said, Social Security's made more mistakes in your case than I could shake a stick at. And Ms. Polke, I feel like you did everything you were supposed to do and that you could have done. So I'm going to grant you this waiver, and you won't have to pay anything back. And so we were just overjoyed, And as we were leaving, his clerk was walking us out, and she said, you're really lucky to have had him. I said, no, ma'am. I said, we've been praying about this. This was a blessing. And she said, well, God answers your prayers. I said, yes, he does. We got out to the elevator, and I was just telling my attorney, didn't I tell you God would do this for us? I was so excited. And as we were going to the car, she said, Melissa, I'm so glad we got justice for you, but it was an injustice that it took so long. And I said, no, this was God's timing. This judge needed to be our judge. He needed to be there. And so everything has happened just like God wanted it to happen so that we could have the result that we wanted. When we were going through this and the money was tight, we did continue to tithe just because we knew that was our blessing. It was for our benefit that we did this, that we continued to do what was right. And even when things seemed, hard, God always came through for us. If we were putting our last, $20, $50, whatever in the offering plate, it was okay because that week somebody was going to give us groceries, a check was going to come, something was going to happen that would cover and offset anything that we had to deal with. God has taught us so much. This really has been a good exercise for us in working our faith and trusting God and knowing that he really is doing what he says and that faith does work and he is going to do what he said he would do.